38F. I'm tired of feeling like my husband's 40M secretary. I've talked to my husband about this before, but I don't know how else I can frame this anymore because he doesn't seem to get it. My husband is the type of person who likes to delegate and ask for things to be done for him. Part of it is that acts of service is his love language. And I totally want him to feel loved. But sometimes it makes me feel like a servant in my own home. For example, he will go hours without anything to drink, but the second I get up, will ask for a glass of water even if I'm not headed towards the kitchen. Or if he decides to deep clean something, he will decide that part of that work needs to be done by me. Whereas when I decide to deep clean something, I just do it all myself. English is not his first language, and he's never really used computers much, so in the past he's asked me to proofread important emails for him. I have no problem doing this. But he got a new job last year that requires a lot more emailing for him, and now I basically have a second job every night as his secretary and am literally writing all his emails for him, even basic ones like, "Sounds good, let's do that." I've told him I'm happy to look them over but didn't want to write them for him anymore. He apologized, but after a couple weeks here we are again, with me doing all the work. A couple nights ago he got a new lamp for his bedside table. Where did he put his old one? On my table, even though I didn't ask for it, nor have I ever had one there. He said if I didn't want it I could ask the kids or just toss it. Why is this my responsibility? Last night we had a tiff and now aren't speaking to each other. I was sitting in the middle of our small couch, folding laundry. The coffee table in front of the couch had a lot of junk on it. He comes over with his laptop, yay, more work for me, and asks me to make room. I scooch over. But he just keeps looking at me, wordlessly, expecting me to clean the table for him too. I shoved everything over very annoyed and just snapped, "Good enough now." And he got mad and went to the dining table to finish his work, and didn't ask me for anything else that evening. For the record, this is not a man who expects me to be a maid. We split the daily chores. He cooks, cleans, does laundry, runs errands, contributes to the mental load, etc., all without prompting. Which I know seems like the bare minimum, but I wanted to make it clear this isn't some weird gender thing, or weaponized incompetence to get out of household responsibilities. But for some reason he still makes me feel like his assistant in my own home. Has it crossed your mind to say no? Just stare back at him and ignore it. If he can't use his words, then don't let it work you up. If he doesn't verbalize it, you technically don't know about it. Problem solved. But for some reason he still makes me feel like his assistant in my own home. But for some reason, I continue to act like his assistant in my own home. This has officially become a you issue. He can ask and you should refuse. Acts of service is him doing stuff for you, not him making you do stuff for him. You say he doesn't expect you to be a maid, but he literally expects you to get him drinks, clean up his messes, move things for him and proofread his emails. You're literally his maid and secretary. After an argument my BF, 34 male, told me, 23 female, to move out, and after we spoke about it I know why. Me and my boyfriend were arguing about something and he told me to move out. I was mostly staying at his. I gone back to my apartment that I am still renting. We agreed in August that I don't need to pay rent at his place until I move in with him fully in November. I had kind of a rough path for the last month or so and he was buying most of groceries, but whenever I could I was buying. I was cooking and cleaning mostly and helped him take care of his cats, like feeding and playing. After the argument we sat and spoke about some stuff and he said that I can't move in with him until I settle my debt and have a second part-time job. I study still, or find a more secure one. He said that he doesn't like my energy in his household. That I am always there and that he gets lazy when I am there because his day starts at 7 a.m. and mine at 10 a.m. and he can't do anything because of it. I am an introvert who likes to stay at home and read books, and I also take antidepressants which make me tired. I understood what he was saying and accepted it, but it still hurt a bit. Plus for the last few months he told me not to look for new apartment because I am about to move into his because my lease is running out. And now I can't even find an apartment in my budget, so I probably will need to move in with my toxic mom. How am I supposed to process this? If to trust him again when he says to move in? Or will he kick me out again? Edit. He confessed he felt that I pushed him into this relationship. Which I did not intend to. I just said to him that I did not want to be just FWB because I am catching feeling, and if we can't be anything more then we should stay friends. I realized I started to catch feeling when I came over one day and he had dirty makeup wipes on the sink from a day or two before. And I am sure it was not mine 'cause I don't wear red lipstick. That day I went home right after saying there is an emergency, and a week later we meet and I said that I would appreciate if he changed his bedsheets and cleaned up after his dates, 'cause it makes me feel a bit uncomfortable. Edit 2. There is a lot of comments about my boyfriend using me and stuff. He is not using me in any way. I cook because I like to. He always asks if I need help, and if I do he helps right away. He cooks too if I can't decide what to do. He cleans as well, better than me. We are still going out on dates and meeting. He is not using me for sex. His only problem is he doesn't speak about his feelings as much. The argument we had started with me. I caused a misunderstanding right there. 23F and 34M. Girl. What the fuck are you doing? You've been dating a dude a decade older than you for less than a year and have been fighting off and on for pretty much the entirety of it. And he was fresh out of a long-term relationship. Why would you think moving in would have been a good idea? Honey, you're the rebound he can string along. Why can't he do anything before your day starts? He can do whatever he usually does at 7 a.m. Why can't you stay in the apartment you already rent? Just no age gap. Find a roommate. Don't move in with this guy. My GF, 28 female, cheated on me, 26 male, but says that she was coerced. My girlfriend of 6 years, have pets and an apartment and everything else except kids and rings. Cheated on me about a month ago with her coworker. They went to a bar after work with a group of other coworkers. As the night began to wind down and people left, he invited her back to his place for more drinks. She accepted. She went home with him and continued to drink, and he offered her 2 mushroom capsules. She took them. I am fuzzy on the exact details of how this transpired because I am a wreck right now and think I may be blocking it out to an extent. But they ended up laying in his bed together watching a movie. He made advances towards her which she claims to have rejected. He pushed the issue and asked her to at least touch it. You have to. Again, I don't know how long this went on or how much of a fight she really put up, but basically she gave him a blowjob to competition, letting him finish in her mouth, and then spent the night at his house before leaving. She claims that this whole incident was largely not her fault because he took advantage of her while she was fucked up. It is also important to mention some relationship history from the past year. In the past year she has asked me twice how I'd feel about an open relationship and has admittedly had a crush on a different coworker for many months. Maybe I am too hurt to see things clearly, but it really seems to me that this whole coercion thing is just a poor way to try to feel better about her actions and avoid accountability. Even if the guy was creepy, which it definitely sounds like he was, why was she at his house in the first place? What did she think was going to happen? Any insight would be appreciated. I'm a complete mess right now. She's my whole world, and truth be told she is pretty much all I have had. I am leaving to go out of town for a couple weeks and will be making a decision on what to do going forward. It's also worth mentioning that she is very upset with me right now because I sought support from some of my close friends and family. She is seemingly more preoccupied with her reputation and what others will think than my feelings or trying win back any trust. I have a feeling the answer is fuck no, but was it a mistake to tell my close friends and family? Feel free to ask follow-up questions if I need to more thoroughly explain things. She's feeding you nonsense. She should have never agreed to go back to his place if she had intended to be faithful, then she agreed to lay in bed with him. Then she blew him. She's minimizing her guilt in the story, hoping it'll stop you from leaving her, and also hoping it'll help keep her reputation from being destroyed. You need to bail out of this relationship. She discussed opening the relationship and then just happens to cheat. She says some other bullshit happened just to try to get out of being labeled a cheater. She isn't worth your time. You need me to coerce you to leave? If you stay, you'll only have yourself to blame, man. Stick up for yourself and leave. As the night began to wind down and people left, he invited her back to his place for more drinks. She accepted. I stopped reading right there. That's your cue to bail out, brother. If your girl can be invited to someone's place that easily, then she's not really your girl. Time to give her back to the city. My wife, F23, is judging me, M28, for something I didn't even know I did. Hey there. So honestly, my problem is pretty superficial, but it still annoys me. Both of us work as nursery nurses. She's in kindergarten and I work with older kids, 6-14, after school daycare. But also help out at a kindergarten. Both different buildings, we don't work together. So I got a trainee in our building who has a friend that is a co-worker of my wife. I work occasionally with her together since we are now in the same team. TLDR as my wife had a shift with said friend. That friend had a talk with the trainee and she only seemed to talk about me. That's what the coworker said at least. Like, how nice, funny I am, that she enjoyed working with me. Working with older kids is not entirely her thing, but it was more fun since we were in the same group. Get along with each other pretty well. That my instructions are spot on and helpful. And so on, nothing not safe for work or anything. Personally would have never guessed she viewed me like that, first time I heard about it. After that her friend asked her if she knows that she is working with my wife together. She did, but it seemed she just continued the talk lol. So cutting to the chase. My wife was totally irritated and we talked about it in the evening. I gave her my side, we laughed about it and all seemed well. But she is occasionally judging, bringing it up to me, that's just her personality, she can be very jealous. And I kinda sometimes don't know how to react. I am also unsure about the trainee on how to approach that. If I should mention it to her or something. I mean I have absolutely no feelings for her. We just got a house, our Bernese mountain dog puppy and my life is perfectly stable. I'm more of a introvert and not a people person, funny looking at my job right? So I am absolutely clueless. Wouldn't even notice if I somehow flirt to be honest. And my way with girls, women is even worse so to speak. Sue. Am I just reading too much into it, being paranoid? Is it just nonsense to be worked up by that? Some tips or opinions would be appreciated haha. Just so I can get it out of my system before my vacation ends. Is there something you want me to do about Amy? If not, can we stop talking about her? It's making me uncomfortable because I don't know what you want from me. You can't fix this. She needs to fix this. And it's telling that she doesn't appear to want this fixed. Babe, you're just going to have to get used to living in a world where people think I'm great. If you can't cope with that you shouldn't have picked such a wonderful man. But she is occasionally judging, bringing it up to me, that's just her personality, she can be very jealous. You're surprised your 23-year-old bride is acting like she's 23? Your wife caught the girl crushing on you and thinks you are enabling her attitude or flirting back. If those statements aren't true, and we know when we're flirting, because it leads us to something we want from that person. You need to have an open and honest conversation with your wife regarding your feelings too and why wasn't she more explicit. Or she will start to guess that you like the attention way too much. Congratulations for not being a dickhead in your professional life. But how does it makes your wife insecure?